This is the last part of our tutorial on how to create a REST JSON server on Linux using Delphi and TMS XData. We have our Apache model created with WebBroker running our basic Sparkle model already, and now it's time to finally add the XData module to the server. Let's add XData server model unit and add XData model to our Sparkle server. Just as the previous model, we have to add the URL of that the model will respond to. We can have several models with registered in Sparkle. For example, we can have both models responding to different URLs, but to make our source code simple, we'll just remove the Sparkle anonymous model and use XData. We'll respond to the same URL, and for the XData model, we need a database connection that we are going to create. You can use any database you want that is supported by Aurelius. To make it simple, we will use SQLite database. So we go to File, New, Other, TMS Business, New TMS Aurelius DB connection. From the multiple options we have, we'll choose SQLite. And here our connection. Let's use the newly created unit and add the connection here. That's our model installed. And we will use another tool from Aurelius, which is the database manager. Let's use the unit Aurelius Engine Database Manager, and it provides a class which is tDatabase Manager that we call update and pass the connection. This will detect the missing tables and columns in the database and foreign keys and add the missing ones for us. So we have automatically our database schema updated here. And of course, we have to check where we are going to save our SQLite database. The default one is not suitable for Linux because we have to have a proper place for the database. Let's use our home directory, home user XData, xdata.db. Let's put our SQLite database in this directory. Of course, we have to go to Linux now and create that folder and file so that we can access our SQLite database. Here we are in our home directory. Let's create a new folder XData and create an empty file. We're using touch command in the XData folder, xdata.db. Finally, we have to make sure that Apache will be able to read and write the database, because here we are using our regular user on Linux, but Apache server will run under another user. So we will change the group of those files. The new group will be www.data, which is the one used by Apache. We will change the group of XData folder and use this option to change all the files in that folder recursively. And we have our file xdata.db with proper permissions created. Finally, we just have to install SQLite library so that our Apache model will be able to read and write that database. Let's use apt-get utility and install SQLite. Okay, all is done. Let's build our project and deploy it to Linux. Stop Apache server, restart, and check. This is our previous response from the server, and now we have the default response from XData root server. That's it, our XData server is up and running, and from now on we have done with the specific Linux and Apache stuff, and all the programming of XData will be just the same if here, or if you are using it from Windows, it's just XData code. We can build an example here that, as I said, will work for both, for any platform. Let's create a new entity. Let's call it the customer, with two properties, ID of type integer and name of type string. Let's make it an Aurelius entity by using Aurelius mapping attributes unit, and mark that class as an Aurelius entity using map it by using automatic mapping. Finally, let's register this entity so it doesn't get, the class doesn't get removed by the linker because it's not used anywhere. And we can just rebuild our application, our model actually, and deploy it again to Linux. Restart, stop our server, restart, and if we check the requests, we see that XData server reports that we have a customer URL that retrieves customer entities. The customer collection is empty, of course, because we haven't added any data to it, but we can use the REST debugger tool or any other REST client tool you might have, and to do some tests. For example, let's make a post request to our customer collection. Let's send a JSON content with a name, TMS send the request, and we have a response created, the new entity created there. Let's create another one like Embarcadero, and if you perform a request here, we have our entities in our collection. And as with any XData server, you can use filters, order by, for example, order by name, and any filter you want, take. Anyway, this is just the regular XData server, and it's out of the scope of this tutorial. Our purpose here is to create and deploy a basic XData server to Linux from scratch, and that's it. That's how we do it. And subscribe to our channel. We'll soon release new videos about how to code and develop using TMS XData, regardless if you are using Linux or Windows. And thanks for watching.